As I said yesterday, anyway, if you take that book, that precious teaching, treasure of Dharma, and if you read precisely at first, quite at the beginning, these practices are explained, even as I said before, even with some illustrations. However, I am repeating it because that way it also becomes, if anybody of you are practicing, then it's not just practice based on the book, but also with some kind of transmission. So with this motivation, I thought also give a little explanation of that. Here one should, all the sitting position is all same as before. These are already explained. And now what one has to add is, here one has to visualize within one's body the nadis, the channels, because all these, the breathing, when we do the usual anapanasati, you only just breathe in and out. That is going out, it's coming in, but one doesn't think about, especially that they are entering into some particular channel or anything like that. Of course, it enters through your nostrils and goes inside and then come out also through the nostrils. But inside, in what kind of channel, one doesn't think about. Simply concentrate on the breathing. But here one must visualize also the channels, the central channels. Actually, our body is so full of channels. There are 72,000 special in the channels that are all over our body, all over, from the top of the head up to the sole of the feet, all through our body there are those channels. And also there are a whole lot of these so-called centers as well. All have their own functions, or usually their functions. Also on a higher level of the practice, in the stage of completion, there are a lot of also functions for them. But at the moment we leave them aside. What is important is to work with only with 3 central channels. One sits in the right position, if possible in Vajra, in asana, or if not in another suitable position. I want to say first that also in the Abhidharma teachings, although it doesn't speak about the channels, however, also for the anapanasati, Buddha has also taught, if it is difficult for one to concentrate well on one's breath, because breath has no form, no color and so on, so if one cannot really trace it well, then one can visualize these breathings also like a beam of light, or like a smoke or incense, very fine, whitish, white, like beam of light, very, very fine, like fine smoke that is coming from incense, very fine incense, not a whole lot of smoke, but like Japanese incense, kind of fine smoke like that. Then one can visualize one's breathing in such a form, they go out to a certain extent, about first so long, maybe about 1 finger span, like that it goes out, then it comes in, inside also it goes that deep inside, and one visualize the breath in form of such beams of light or such smoke of incense. That is what Buddha has taught, and as one increases one's this practice, then one can make these beams of light always a little bit longer going out, a little bit longer going in. This beam of light which goes out that much longer, in that much longer, so it's going deeper and deeper into our legs. And after it even goes further down out of our legs into the earth, going deeper and deeper. And in the same way, going out into space, also very far-reaching, longer and longer. That is also Buddha has taught in connection with the anapanasati, in which one visualizes a form, a color, a shape to this breathing in the form of beams of light. That is also a method. It's not tantric, but it's something which Buddha has taught. For this ninefold breathing meditation, then one should visualize one is sitting in the right position, upright position. Then on the center of one's body is these 3 channels. To begin with, one doesn't need to think about the 3rd channel. We only think about 2, the right and left. Then with that one practice, one do the exercise with these two channels. So one visualize the two channels which begin from the nostril upward, like a handle of some umbrella going to the head, and then going straight down. And in reality it goes into the legs and so on, but one does not need to think about this part. Only one thinks about these two channels reaching about 4 fingers below the navel, and where then these two channels are joined, one into the other. One visualizes these two channels standing there straight, or the upper hooked on the top, reaching to the ends of the two nostrils. I need to make one correction, because it seems I have, as always, have made a mistake in the explanation about the nadis. In the past also I made few times the same kind of mistakes. That is the position of the nadis, the right nadi, which is Roma in Tibetan, in Sanskrit the Rasana, which I said, did I say it's white?
Yes.
Yeah. So now change it to red. And on the other side, the left is Lalana, which is Yangma, that is white. Only change the color. There's also the confusion comes because speaking from your side and then it is speaking from the other side, that is opposite. The right, that means your own right nadi is red, and your own left side nadi lalana that is white, and the middle, that is avadhuti, or the central channel, which is called in Tibetan uma, is bluish in color, but it's also stays bluish, but in some practice it's black. So there is also change according to the different mantras and different practices as well. They look different from outside, with slightly different color. Inside they are all red, and these are very fine material, not hard like bamboo or something like that. It is very flexible and elastic form, like the lotus stalk, something which is fine and also not, it stands still, but not just shabby, not like spaghetti. If it's like spaghetti, it will never stand still. It is soft and tender and smooth and soft and tender. The texture is like that. And one can visualize here also, exaggerate a little bit, so it is kind of radiant nature also. Inward it's very not so thick. It is the size of the small thumb, depending on some people can have a huge small thumb. But the small finger, tip of the small finger. So like that. As often said as like arrow also, in such kind of size that it is standing from here up to 4 fingers below the navel, and there the left channels end is put into the right channel. Like this it is in the right channel. So the left channel or the white channels and inserted into this red channel on the right, and that way one visualizes for the first 3 rounds of breathing. So first one sits properly in the meditation position, and then one visualizes these 2 channels in such a position. And after then one begins with the respiration, inhalation. So here one has to respire through the left channel first. So what you have to do, you have to close your right nose, and you should do it with your index finger, and then you breathe in through the left nostril, and the air goes then through the left channel, and then some point one begins to breathe out. Then it is already in the right channel, and then it kind of opens the right channel, and then you move to your finger. You should move at this point your finger. First it was like that, now from back of the finger here, and then you breathe out from the right channel. And so when you breathe out, all those blockage of the right channel, now you're purifying the right channel, all the blockage of the nadis, and one can also Here imagine you do it 3 times. First time all these physical nadis can be like a water pipe which has not been used, and then there comes lots of things in it, dry leaves and a lot of things totally blocked like that. All those kind of nadi blockage are completely pushed out. And then also the mental, as I said yesterday, the right side is especially a channel of where flows also the desire and this kind of delusions. So all that kind of delusions are also pushed out. So that way we inhale through the left channel and then exhale through the right channel. We do it 2 times. With this kind of visualization, air goes in here and go down, and then as it reaches into the right channel, it becomes more powerful. So that way then it pushes out all those impurities, those physical impurities, also illnesses, and then nadi blockage, then those special delusions are all completely expelled from the right channel. That way you do 3 times breathing, slowly breathing. Then we change the position of the channel. Now the end of the right red channel is inserted into the right left channel. And then we can use the left hand also, or we can use the same right also, doesn't matter. Then we close, before we have closed the right, now we close the left channel and we breathe in through the right channel. And the breath goes out as before, goes down, and then it enters into the left one, and then it begins to push all those obstacles there inside that channel. Then the breath comes up and it goes down, and then through the left nostril, then all these impurities, all the physical impurities, such as all kinds of illnesses. If one wants to specify the first illnesses, more illnesses in relation to the what we call so-called inner wind problem, the whole related illnesses, all those are out. And then all this blockage of the channels, and then desire and this type of delusion. Now here, illnesses of especially in relation to the bile complications, excessive bile and all, there's a whole lot of unbalance caused by the bile. All that is all gone out. And also all that channel blockage in the left channel are all expelled. And then all kind of delusions such as anger, hatred, aggression, all that is also expelled. So 3 times we breathe in through the right channel, and then we change and breathe out from the left channel, and that way 3 times, expelling these impurities totally out of the left channel. So these 2 side nadis are clean. And after that, now we visualize the 3rd one. It's always there, but before one doesn't visualize it, one doesn't think about that, it's there. Now we think about all 3 nadis. There is the central channel, and end of that is not in the 2 nostrils, but here in between the eyebrows. And so there is the opening of the central channel, and going again to the back of one's head and going down. And this is reaching about 4 fingers below the navel, and there now the ends of the 2 side channels are inserted into the central channel. They are positioned. Here one does not use any fingers. Fingers are in the meditation position, and then we breathe in through both nostrils in equally way. One breathe in through both nostrils, and so these goes into the 2 central channels. They are in parallel. They are like that. So this one is a little bit shorter, these 2 are a little bit longer. So anyway, the top is like that. It goes through the channels on the side, parallel to the central one, and it goes down straight and into the central one. And then the force of the bow enters into the central one, and it pushes. It opens the central channel completely, which is, as I said before, usually not open, but it opens completely. And all what is in it, all those blockage, and especially also in relation to the illnesses which are produced with the phlegm. There's a whole lot of illnesses that are produce flame-related illnesses, as well as all these blockage of the central channel itself is completely opened, completely clarified, completely expelled. And then with regards to the delusions, we do 3 times, and the 3rd time we especially the delusions such as ignorance, or all kinds of self-grasping, self-cherishing, all this egoism and ignorance, all these very root delusions are there. So therefore, these are all pushed out, completely expelled through the force coming both channels, concentrated into the central channel, and that expels, pushes out all that kind of physical and mental obstacles. So this is done 3 times. Right from the beginning, when one is not familiar to visualizing these channels already, maybe nothing is clear, that is normal. But through habituation, through doing such practice regularly, then they become clearer and clearer. And before that, one can even, first to make things easier, one can also visualize so-called hollow body. Hollow body, that means one's body is completely empty, like a balloon, not full of something, but completely like empty. And then in that emptiness, then one visualizes those channels. So that is a very important practice. This is also a preparation in itself for a very high level of practice, the meditation with the channels and the energies and so on, which happens in Anuttara Tantra in the stage of completion. Such kind of practice at the beginning is already a kind of preparation for those levels. So because of that, Precious Master also has taught these things. Those who are there at this first teaching enrolled, then maybe remembers it quite well. Surely you remember Mauritius was there. Still there are still a few other who are here as well. Geshe Rinpoche taught all those things. I remember very well, using his fingers and so on, making some jokes also every now and then. It was really a very good old time. So Geshe Rinpoche has initiated, taught these, and for remind ourselves with these practices, and also to give so many of you who was not there, who did not receive such a transmission, I'm supposed to have replaced it. This replacement is quite impossible, but anyway, try to be replacing something and then give you this transmission of this practice. Such a replacement is like try to replace the sun by a glowing worm. One has definitely received that transmission from the Precious Master at that public teaching, also individually. Already as a small child, kind of play and kind of real, then let the Precious Master let me do some exercises like that, and which childish mind, childish behavior, did something of imitation, more of imitation. Through whatever way, through the blessing of the Guru, then definitely received the blessings of such teaching, such practice. So there is this practice which anybody can do, and somebody regularly does it, then one familiarizes, and if one familiarizes, these are very, very beneficial. It has multiple benefits, as I said before, on the physical level and on mental level, and for the karmic purification as well. Therefore, very precious practice. Also one kind of complete set of practice, combined with the respiration. And in that same book also, in the teaching, Geshe Rinpoche, I remember very well that first he taught these ninefold energy clarifying, the channel clarifying exercises, followed by single-pointed concentration. Then after, one visualizes just the central channel and not other channels, and then either at the navel level, which is not totally at the end, but a bit higher up in the navel level, or up here in the upper end, which I just mentioned before. There one visualizes a luminous point, a very brilliant luminous point, and then one direct all one's concentration on that luminous point. One can also place in the heart, but that's kind of risky. any kind of penetration, concentration, heart center can lead to complications quite easily. It's preferable to place such a luminous point, set point in the navel center or in the center right between the eyebrows, at the opening, at the end of inside the central channel, and place it and then direct all our attention and concentration on that very point. And here one does a single-pointed concentration. Single-pointed concentration is something that one should never try to do for a long time with so much effort. That can easily cause a disturbance or psychological tensions. So therefore, one has to do short sessions with many repeated times. For a short time, one does such fixation of the mind, and before one gets totally exhausted and totally becomes unpleasant, then one, while it's still going well, one stops and then one repeat again. Like this, many repeated short sessions is recommendable to the beginners. Very effortsome, hard, long sessions. That is not skillful. One draws all one's concentration on that point between the eyebrows. This is the point where you see in the Buddha, where there is Urna. Buddhas are very important center of omniscience right here, which is symbolized by this white light coil between the eyebrows. It is inside, central channel, not outside, and just at the opening. Just like a little bulb there, bright and radiant, and there one draws all one's concentration on that. But when somebody tries like that, it may be possible that one's eyes are also automatically drawn in that direction, but doesn't matter. One doesn't have to look at that place. There are some exercises where also one look up in this direction. There are some meditations, some tantric meditations, where you particularly, especially, look upward and look in this opening of the central chakra. That's not here. Here, one simply, your mind try to concentrate on that point of the light at that point. But anyway, that is one good exercise for the single-pointed concentration. And one visualize that in the navel center, that also is an important center, because that is also a center on which, in an advanced practice of the meditation of the Tantra, there's an important center of penetration, where not only that one also accomplishes single-pointed concentration of mind, but also through concentration of mind, then wherever the mind actually concentrated, then along with it also certain energies which always accompanies our mind also penetrates. So that way, through the penetration of these certain energies in such a point in the navel center, then can also generate through that higher realization and important realizations of such things as what is known as Tummo, etc. That means it is translated, it's not well translated at all, like psyche heat or something. It has nothing to do with heat either. But anyway, that's how it's called. But one should not use too much these words. That can really create, again, fantasies. So many fantasies. Tantra is full of fantasy. If it is not well understood and also well explained, can totally misunderstand. So one shouldn't use too much of such words. There is the special point, a very important point in the central channel, through which, through penetrating, activating, there is also many realizations that can be attained. We are, of course, not at that level, but still, if one practices, for example, such concentrations on such point and that level, it already. And that's also the reason why we are keeping all meditations, our two hands joined here at the navel level, and through joining of the thumbs, it creates inside a kind of a particular shape, like triangle shape, that in itself actually signifies that particular point in the navel center. That is, of course, not explained in the basic teachings of the Buddha, but Buddha showing such a gesture of the meditation is already training on the disciples to ultimately really to understand those higher levels of the meanings of each of these gestures and what can it lead to, very meaningful. But on a higher level, in the navel center, there's a lot of things to do, things to accomplish, and that is also an important point. But actually, all crown of the head is an important point, and here also the throat center is as well very, very important. This point in the navel center is in the Buddhist Tantra. The precise name of that is Chandali. It's not Kundali. Kundali is something totally different. In Tibetan we call Tummo, the Tummo or Chandali. So it is also it's not helpful when we mix up everything, Kundali, Chandali and everything, and can also create a whole lot of confusion. But that is something else. The Chandali is that point in the navel center, this triangle shaped, like a pyramid shaped point in the navel center. There's also a point of concentration or penetration, and very important also is the throat center, which is a very important center, the center for the activity of all the subtle channels involving especially with our certain states of the mind, like during the dream states of mind. The center of activity is the throat center. Our awakened state of mind, in like now, the principal center of that is in the head. Therefore, we always think that our mind is in the head. Actually, mind is not only in the head. It is the particular center of channels which is linked with the mind in its awakened state, which is our active growth state of the mind. Dream state is in the throat, and deep sleep, dreamless state is in the heart, etc. And then of course our state during our dying process, then again our subtle channels and the subtle energy, subtle mind all become subtler and subtler. Then they have also their relative particular centers. These are very important centers for all our activities. Then it plays also a very important role in our meditations as well.